Perfect. Okay, Abdullah, have you ever had DPDR? Because I'm experiencing it. Yes, and I've actually had a lot of questions about DPDR, especially in the DMs. So, for those that don't know, DPDR stands for depersonalization, derealization, and it happens whenever, obviously, your nervous system is in fight or flight. Your brain isn't supposed to be in fight or flight all the time, and as a coping mechanism, your body disassociates, right? So you sort of don't really feel like you're here. You kind of feel like you're watching your experience through your eyes from like somewhere else. It's kind of like you're watching a movie and you don't really feel here, right? You're almost like zoned out almost, but you're here at the same time. And so how to deal with DPDR, right? There's things that make DPDR worse, like excessive scrolling, excessive weed use, drugs, alcohol, the basics. But what I would say is start going outside, start walking, and start by regulating your nervous system because DPDR isn't the cause, it's just a symptom of anxiety. So when you start regulating your nervous system, your DPDR goes away. It's the same way if someone's like, how do I get rid of panic attacks? How do I get rid of DPDR? How do I get rid of sleep anxiety? A lot of it's all due to because your nervous system being in fight or flight. So if you actually start regulating your nervous system, all of those symptoms will start going away, right? Kimmy, the tools you send me are working. I appreciate that, and I'm glad they are because A, they're somatic, and B, they're scientifically proven to help you go out of fight or flight. Now, if I were you, I would do the tools a couple times a day, but to make things manageable, do it at least once a day, right? I would suggest do it the first thing in the morning. Okay, use your 5-3 bunch of numbers, right? Can I still heal in a toxic workplace? So, good question, and I'll say a story to kind of bring the point home. So I remember when I was just driving to my parents' house and I stopped at a co-op, and it's just because I need to buy some groceries. But I parked my car in an odd spot. When I got back to my car, there was this man about he was like 5'5" or whatever. He just kind of walked up to me and just started screaming at me because of where I parked my car. Now I'm like shocked. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't mean to park here, but obviously him screaming at me put me into fight or flight. Now why am I saying this when you've asked me is a toxic workplace? Can I still heal in a toxic workplace? So I presume him to be what I imagine a toxic person in a workplace or in your family or a friend to be like, because they put you into fight or flight. Their energy puts you into fight or flight, and it made it very. And obviously, I went into fight or flight because someone's screaming at me, so my brain's obviously gonna think there's a threat. The difference is when I drove away, my body regulated itself. I went out of fight or flight. If you're staying in a toxic workplace and people are putting you into fight or flight, obviously it's gonna be more difficult for you to leave fight or flight. Now, two circumstances, right? If you can, try and get out of that workplace, right? If it's a thing where you literally can't and you need the money to pay the bills and to survive, at least until you find something better, you can try. All depends on you, right? If if somebody's toxic in the workplace, there's things you can do. A, you can do regulation tools in the workplace. B, continue meditation, because with meditation you can observe your reactions, right? So if someone's being a dick to you at work, if you stay in your body during that, you'll feel less inclined to get lost in the story your mind tells you, whether it's intrusive thoughts about the person or if someone's criticizing you in the workplace, and for your mind to believe that and just kind of feel that, right? So continue meditation so you can observe your thoughts as you're having interactions in a toxic workplace. But my recommendation is that a toxic place should be temporary, right? Your mental health comes first. And I know I can relate to the toxic workplace because I remember I used to work in a hospital for a couple of years. And there was a manager called Joanne, and everyone hates Joanne. Like, no offense. I know I'm like this calm, nice person on social media, but I dislike people too. And this manager, Joanne, she was like a B word, right? Like, no one liked her, right? And every time I would have a conversation with her, I could feel the fight or flight energy in my body. And I was so glad when I left. So use the regulation tools, meditation to manage your anxiety as you're, in the workplace. But your goal should be to get out of that workplace because your environment matters in your healing. Thank you for the gift, Tiffany. Okay, and thank you for the like, Z. Okay. Start work Wednesday. Proud of you, Kimmy. Hope you have a good first day. Ratch. Faintness / dizziness in the worst, especially in supermarkets. Okay, so, and I got this question by a member in my Happy Healing community when he was like, why is it when I go in public my anxiety is a 10 out of 10? So if you're in a supermarket or a public place like a supermarket and your nervous system is in fight or flight, there's loads of perceptions because there's loads of people, loads of sounds, loads of noises, loads of different things happening in your visual field. So loads of things for your brain to scan and see potential dangers, as opposed to if you're in a room by yourself, right? So less things for your brain to hyper focus on. So obviously when your brain's trying to focus on all the potential threats and it thinks you're in danger, naturally you're going to be off balance. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but your brain is actually blind, right? And here's what I mean by that. So your brain realizes where it is in the world through your feet, your balance is called your vestibular system, even a pressure in your jaw, whether you have contact in your left molars, whether you can notice your left peripheral vision. These are really complicated processes, but your brain is blind and it realizes where it is through like balance and through your nervous system being out of fight or flight. So when you get when you're in fight or flight, you start getting dizzy or you start losing your balance, you're just reinforcing to your brain that there's a danger and I need to either run away or collapse or go into freeze. So with supermarkets, I would start doing a regulation tool before you go into a supermarket and start by building yourself up with that exposure therapy, right? Don't go into a crowded supermarket. Go into like a corner store first. See how you feel. Then build yourself up to a more crowded one. Kimmy, I'm doing the nervous system regulation tools 3 times a day, mornings, afternoons, and evenings. I'm so deter. I hope that's what you mean. And that's amazing. That's a really, really good routine, like morning, afternoon, evening. So once you picked your favorite regulation tool, do it every day, morning, afternoon, evening. That's lovely. That's actually a really good routine. Everyone else should do that as well. Okay. S. What is a remedy for sleeping if you suffer insomnia due to anxiety? So I kind of covered this in the first. I kind of covered this in the first thing. So put your phone outside of your bedroom, right? Don't eat any food before you go to sleep. To make sure your circadian rhythm's okay, as soon as you wake up in the morning, take a 5, 10, 15-minute walk to get sunlight in your eyes, right? And as you're actually in the bed, try and cool down your room. So whenever you go to sleep, your body temperature lowers, right? So you want to give your body the best chance of actually falling asleep. The second thing is practice a body scan meditation where you kind of use your mind's attention to notice different parts of your body and try and lie still. So if you fidget a lot, try and just notice the intention to fidget. And if you do fidget, move slowly. Because if you let your body be still, your body will eventually calm down. And if your body calms down, the mind will always follow. Z, thank you for the likes. Okay. Thank you for the follow, 421. Okay. Hi, any advice of healing health anxiety? Lulak. Yes. So one, if you're researching your symptoms, stop. Stop Googling, put an app blocker on apps that you research on, do a phone blocker. OneSec, Opal, all great apps to block, right? The second thing is try and take your mind off it, right? So go to the gym, go walking, right? Journal your fears, define it, right? And notice that any anxiety about your health, that is all in your mind, right? So you worrying that your health is gonna go bad, or this is gonna get worse, or how am I gonna live like this forever? All of those are just thoughts. And this is why meditation is important, to notice those thoughts and notice when you're hyper focusing on your symptoms and noticing when your mind is getting lost in a story. So stick with the basics, do regulation tools, start practicing meditation every day. It takes time to notice anxious thoughts because you identify with your anxious thoughts. In the same way, if somebody were to say you call out your name like Lulak and tap your shoulder, you turn around, you identify with anxious thoughts about your health just as much. Okay, Lulak Akemi Watu. So basically, if you go to my bio, there's a free community, and inside that free community, there's a regulation tools course, which is 7 nervous system tools that help reset your nervous system, so put you out of that stress response. And all of them take like 60 seconds to do. And yeah, just go through the tour. It's free. It's completely free. All right, Bethany. I bent over today and it caused a head rush and palpitation, which caused a panic attack. Help. Stop bending over. No, I'm joking. So that can happen obviously because you bend over and there's a sudden rush to the head. And then obviously that, even though that's normal, obviously when you bend over, you're upside down, simply due to gravity, more blood will flow to your head. But obviously if that symptom, you perceive that normal thing that would happen as a threat and your nervous system goes into fight or flight, the problem isn't you bending over. The problem is the fact that you are already in a state of hypervigilance, which basically means you're trying to, as you're going about your day, whether you like stub your toe or whether you bend over, your mind is always trying to focus on like, what's a threat? What's the next symptom? What's the sensation that suggests I'm in danger, right? So with that, start with the basics. When you notice like a lot of you guys are actually in fight or flight, kind of like a functional fight or flight, that you aren't realizing that you are actually in fight or flight. It's only when you have like something more intense, like a palpitation or a panic attack, where you realize, oh, I'm actually in fight or flight. Oh, and I'm not actually supposed to feel like this. So with panic attacks, things that help is somatic shaking. You actually want to breathe less because when you're having a panic attack, you're breathing more. So if you, for example, practice something called box breathing, which is where you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. That's amazing. Tiffany, how long did I have anxiety? So I had anxiety for 10 years. I was always in fight or flight. I was raised in survival mode. It was my way of living. It was up until like in my 20s where the health issues that I had got really, really bad, right? I had colitis, I had sinusitis, I had tinnitus, I had IBS, I had asthma. I had so many issues that all like kind of piled on top of one another and got really bad. And so short answer, 10 years, but really, really bad for, I would say, 3 years. It was brutal. Like 3 years was where the symptoms were very, very intense. But 10 years, all my life pretty much. Well, not all my life, but 10 years. Raj, awesome, I'm doing that. Proud of you. Kimmy, determined. Good for you. Okay. Thank you for all the likes, Chaz. Okay. How do you heal anxiety due to not getting replies from a partner? So obviously the person you're dating or in a relationship with has the ability to, impact your mood, especially if you have like an anxious attachment style. So my first answer would be like, I'm not a relationship expert, but communicate with your partner that this bothers you. And if they're not responding to that, then leave them, right? If you can't communicate in a relationship, especially if you have anxiety, and to know that you need extra reassurance, then, and if they're not giving you that to you, then you're actually better off alone because you're less anxious alone. But initially communicate with them, hey, I have anxiety. You not replying to me gives me more anxiety. I would appreciate if you reply faster. And if they care about you, this is what to look out for. If it's a green flag or red flag, If they respond with like, oh, I'm so sorry, let me make effort to do that, and then their action actually does that, and okay, they're a good partner. If they don't do that, despite repeated communication, break up with them. Okay, and I know that's a bit brutal, but your mental health comes first. Okay. Layla, talk about the signs and symptoms for anxiety. Sure. So, in terms of physical symptoms, palpitations, panic attacks, tinnitus, vertigo, loads of inflammatory diseases in the body like IBS, gut issues, nausea, dizziness, feeling like you're about to faint. Those are a couple, right? Mental symptoms, constant racing thoughts, constant worst case scenario thinking, constant worrying about the future, obsessing over your symptoms. So if you have panic attacks, you think about the fact that you have panic attacks all day. If you have like tightness in your chest, which is another physical symptom, you think about that all the time. And you just kind of feel like every sort of situation that you come across is life or death, when it's not, right? Kimmy, how do I know you are getting better? So, good question. A couple things. So, initially, you'll start sleeping more, right? Your body needs to heal from that stress. So, if you start feeling more tired and you start feeling like you need more sleep, that's good. Now, if you've had a lot of trauma in your nervous system, another sign that is kind of negative, but it's kind of like you're recovering, is all those emotions, thoughts start bubbling to the surface. All those emotions that you were suppressing because you're in fight or flight will start coming to the surface, because your body now realizes it's safe to feel those emotions and memories. So that's a sign. And obviously another sign is your symptoms lower, or you think about your symptoms less, right? I know I make a lot of videos and it's like when you wake up one morning and you're not in fight or flight anymore. So it's not kind of like you're anticipating that day. It's kind of like you wake up and then it just kind of has a random thought, oh, like I'm actually fine, because you think about your symptoms less, so you're not actually identified as an anxious person. And when you actually stop obsessing about it so much and focusing on it so much, is when your brain actually realizes you're okay and like you can carry on with your life. Lulak, check it out. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm proud of it. Hey, good. Thank you for the follow. Forehead reveal. Sure, I kind of have a massive forehead. Lawrence Essex. Hey, been struggling with health anxiety and death anxiety for 4 years now. Very stuck. Okay, so you've been struggling with this for years. And if it's taken 4 years of your life, then you should be someone that is dead bent on healing. So start with this. Go do my regulation tool course. And like Kimmy, do it morning, afternoon, evening. I like that. The second thing is, learn how to meditate and meditate every single day, right? You need to get awareness of the thoughts about your health anxiety, about your death anxiety. Otherwise, you will believe every single fearful thought you have about your health and death, and it will ruminate in your head, right? You need to create space for that. Now, one of the things you can do is as soon as you start thinking about, obviously as you learn to meditate, as soon as you start obsessing over your health or your death, just follow your breath. You're breathing right now. I'm breathing right now. Just follow it. And it helps you take you out of your mind. Right? And this takes practice. Start with that. Third thing I would start doing. Start breaking habits or building habits that help anxiety. So habits that fuel anxiety. A messy diet. Staying inside. Researching your symptoms. Doom scrolling. Binge eating. Drugs. Smoking. Alcohol. Hanging out with toxic people. Habits that help anxiety. Sorry guys, something in my eye. Habits that help anxiety. Meditation, nervous system regulation tools, running, exercise, walking, nature, reading. Pick one. You'll know which one you should build or break. So if obviously if you're drinking every day, stop. Focus on that first. If you're hanging out with a person that really ruins your mental health, start setting boundaries with that first. Finn, is it true that if I fight chronic stress, it gets worse before it gets better? So I hope what you mean by fight is you try to heal, because don't try to fight your thoughts. Don't try to fight your symptoms. That's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. So So it's two ways this can make you feel worse before it gets better. A, as you do start feeling better, your brain likes familiarity, right? So if you've been in fight or flight for a while, that's the way your body has learned to now live. So as soon as you start regulating it yourself, you're stepping into the unknown, right? And obviously your brain likes familiarity. So it's gonna be like, oh, I need to go back to the known. So for a short while, your symptoms might intensify just to like bring you back to the known, right? So during that, just stay consistent. Whatever things that you're doing that have helped you heal, just keep doing them, right? Don't stop doing them just because you feel better. Now, the second way is if you have trauma in your nervous system, and I explained this before, that can come bubbling to the surface because your body and your nervous system now thinks it's safe to feel. Like there's no more a threat. So I need to now process these emotions. I need to now process my thought processes and limiting beliefs that I might have. Like if you've had a feeling of chronic shame all your life, or if you've had narcissistic parents or narcissistic partners or whatever it is, and obviously if that was due to a negative belief you have about yourself, you need to process that. You need to identify with that. Or if you had traumatic experiences, you need to process those emotions. And that happens by feeling, right? So therapists are great to help you identify what is it conceptually. Like, oh, it's because of my toxic girlfriend that I had these issues. It's good to identify that. But realistically, the way you actually want to feel it, no one in conversations about it isn't going to feel it. You actually feeling it mindfully is just what's going to help you. So, yes. But it doesn't have to be. You can just kind of feel more tired and then you start regulating yourself. Bethany, thank you so much. You're welcome. Okay. Loads of questions here. Love this, guys. Okay. Okay. 12 years for me, so much trauma growing up, was homebound for 1 year. I hear you. Nabishita. How am I pronouncing that right? How do we release trauma? Good question. So as you start regulating your nervous system, it can happen naturally, right? So as you start being more mindful and you start feeling safe, it can happen naturally. The second way is if you need a little extra boost, things like yoga work. Things like somatic shaking helps, right? For me, meditation released a lot of my trauma because I would be sitting in a meditation session for well over half an hour, sometimes hours, and out of nowhere I'll start crying, right? A thought will pop up from a couple of years ago and I'll just cry and I'll just let it out mindfully. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So that really helped me process my trauma. Mindfulness, short answer, right? Whether it's yoga, nervous system practices, mindfulness, or meditation, mindfulness is how you process your trauma or release it, right? Kimmy, that's so true. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, big deep breath when I started sensing helps so much. Yes, amazing point. The real BK. Oop. I'm shit at pronouncing his names, guys. I'm sorry. 100%. So if you think of your breath and your mind kind of like a seesaw, so if you start thinking a lot, it affects your breath, right? So if you start thinking a lot, your breath tends to get quicker and shallower, and you start breathing from here instead of your belly and your diaphragm. So when you take a deep breath and you start breathing more, you shift the seesaw this way. So obviously that's going to impact your mind, right? This is why in like my 4-week meditation course, in my other community, the first thing you learn to do is notice your breath as it is, right? Because if you learn to know, like if you really learn to notice your breath as it is, where you're not trying to change it, you're not trying to control it, it is one of the most effective ways to leave fight or flight anywhere. So whether you're in a toxic workplace, whether you're in a toxic environment, whether you're just sitting at home, whether you're doing your exposure therapy, you're doing something you're afraid of, if you can learn to be mindful of your body, it's like a superpower, right? And if people were taught how to do that in schools, people would be so much less anxious. Petrola, oh, I just cried my eyes out because I'm scared to go back to school and to be in a train with people everywhere. Okay, so sounds like exposure therapy, right? So The way you overcome being scared to go places is by going there, right? So if you avoid trains or you avoid school, you're just reaffirming to your brain that there's a threat in the school, there's a threat in the train, the people are dangerous. Or you're just telling your brain that, because like you can't speak English to your brain in the sense that, oh, I'm like, don't stop giving me anxiety when I go to public places. Your brain's not gonna be like, oh, I'm so sorry, let me just switch it off, right? I would love it if it did that. So start by building yourself up. The more you do things, like the more you go to a train or the more you go to school, the more you're telling your brain that, oh, even if this feels uncomfortable at first, I'm okay. Like I can do this. And the more times you do it, it's evidence that, oh, I can actually do this. And then your nervous system will actually fight or flight because you've done it enough times where, oh, you've realized you're safe. But so if you go to trains every day, try to, or that's too hard for you, try and go on a train once a week, then twice a week, then 3 times a week, and just build yourself up, right? Or just go on a train for a couple stops. Whatever is like manageable, but not impossible. You know what I mean? 100% agree with you, Kimmy. More exposure therapy, the better. Finn, yes, heal. Okay, amazing. Yep, you can DM me. Como, you can DM me. Yep, you can DM me, Como. You can even join my community in my bio. That's the best way to reach me, right? I'm way more active on there than TikTok DMs. Fight or flight mode sucks. When you finally break it, you feel so relaxed. Yes, you do. You do. Because that's what you're supposed to feel like, right? You aren't supposed to be in fight or flight the whole time, right? That's not what, like, fight or flight was an evolutionary adaptation. So if there's a man with a knife following you, you need to run away and activate your fight or flight. That's its purpose, right? Whenever you're sitting down in school or you're with your family or friends or you're doing a normal thing like grocery shopping, your fight or flight isn't actually meant to be activated, right? It's not the point. So it is amazing. Like whenever you do really start regulating yourself, it's like you don't even think twice when you do things that used to make you anxious. It's just kind of like I'm enjoying my life. And it can feel like you can, if you really do this, right, and you've got some sort of degree of mindfulness where you can notice your thoughts. It's like as you're going about your day, you can feel the blood flow in your arms. Your body just feels warm. You just feel it's like you're present, right? So it's like when you're in fight or flight, you're thinking about the future, and then when you're not, it's like like I can feel my exhale. I can feel myself letting go. I can feel myself not analyzing the moment. Okay. Okay, I'm not trying to be quicker with these because I have to go soon. Okay. Okay, what is the next question? Hi, please. Okay. I'm having issues feeling like I'm breathless, so I feel like I can't talk to people because of fear. Learn to notice your breath as it is with meditation. That way you can notice the breath. Even if you feel breathless, notice what that actually feels like with curiosity. Good. Continue to do the things that help you in the first place, even when you start feeling better. Otherwise you will relapse, right? So whenever my symptoms started going away a little bit, I stopped being consistent with meditation and healthy habits, and then it would take my symptoms to get worse again before I stayed consistent. So avoid that mistake. Welcome. I'm 24. What is a good diet to have for anxiety? So a couple things. So start with whole foods, right? Avoid processed food. So if you look at a food and it has like 20 ingredients, don't eat that, right? So eat single ingredient foods are better, right? And if you're gonna eat meat, try and avoid pork, right? Processed pork. And if you're gonna eat beef, right, make sure it's grass-fed beef, right, not processed beef. If you're gonna eat fish, make sure it's freshwater fish, right? Don't make it be like processed fish, right? And you'll know if you look at the ingredients and how it was sourced. If it's eggs, don't eat caged hens, right? So that's chickens that are like, they put hormones in to make them bigger, like instead of naturally get bigger, and then produce eggs in like a cage. So instead of eating that, eat pasteurized eggs. Or just take an extra minute to look at the food you're buying, right? And if you're eating out, don't eat McDonald's. Don't eat processed. Don't eat fast food. Eat healthy foods. So my recommendation is you can eat what you want. Just make it whole foods, right? So the foods that you like are whole foods. Just eat that. And vegetables are great. Fruits are great. If you are a person that likes meat, just have good sources. Like, for example, whenever I was trying to heal my gut issues, I went on something called an elimination diet, where I avoided gluten, I avoided dairy, I avoided sugar, I avoided alcohol for 6 months at least, right? And I still avoid gluten and I still avoid sugar, unless it's like I'm out at a dinner and like there's a gluten-free cheesecake, then I might have it. But it takes time to get there. You want to, in the beginning, especially with gut issues, just go on a low inflammation diet. Comma, can you respond? I did. Balkan, what are you? Are you a doctor? No, I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone that genuinely healed anxiety. And if you look at my page, you can see my story. If you look at the pinned post, you can see my face from when I was sick to my face now. And that should be all the proof you need. How can I be brave? Get rid of the high. So being brave doesn't mean you feel like, if I'm assuming like doing exposure therapy. Being brave doesn't mean when you do it, you feel confident. Being brave is you do it anyway, even if you're afraid. That's what being brave is. Liz, heal anxiety in 6 months? Yeah, I genuinely did, because I did all the right things consistently. After a bunch of trial and error, when I did the right things consistently, I genuinely healed. And if you don't believe me, go look at my pinned post where you can see it. Yeah, Patrick, it's having no anxiety or having no appetite is very normal. Where can I DM you? Had so much therapy. So you can DM me on TikTok, or you can sign up to the free community in my bio. It's free, and then DM me there. Elsie, hey, add me. Add you on what? At this moment, swallowing, anxiety, and dizziness can't leave the house, right? Start with the free courses in my community. Patriola, I'm sorry guys, I'm so bad at pronouncing. Where are you from? I'm from Northern Ireland in the UK. I'm 18. My anxiety is giving me depression. Gave me depression too much. Nature helped. So on the days I felt really bad, I would just spend like an hour in nature and walk and exercise. Those two things really help depression. My anxiety is preventing me. Thank you for the likes, guys, by the way. My anxiety is preventing me from appreciating the present moment and living in the now. What do? You learn how to meditate, my friend. And if you guys want like a meditation course actually for anxiety, just DM me. No, I'm sorry, but the meditation course in my other community isn't free. But if any of you DM me on TikTok, I'll give you a discount since you guys joined the live. Okay. My anxiety is preventing me from... Okay, One City Z. How does Shilajit help you? So, a couple of things. So obviously, Shilajit has a bunch of minerals and vitamins, right? And I would use it anyway, even before the brand reached out to me. So one just helped my hormones, right? So since I'm a guy, it increased my testosterone. If you're a woman, it'll help balance your hormones. So it just kind of gives you more energy. And it just, it'll basically find what is your body lacking and rebalance it. So it just helped me be calmer. It helped the inflammation in my body and it helped my hormones. 3 years of exposure therapy and CBT, but nothing. I think meditation is you're missing like... Who's the lash tag? Oh, I don't know if you're on about me. I have like no eyelashes. Humming really helps me. Yep, Kimmy. Humming is really good. One of the regulation tools is diaphragmatic breathing with humming. Okay. Okay. There we go. Perfect advice, D. I like it. Accept it. Don't fight it. Once it is scared of meds. Meds, first of all, don't go on benzo if you guys aren't going to go on meds. I'm not a doctor, but don't go on benzo because that's really hard to get off. And meds is understand if you do go on meds, it's a temporary solution, right? So it's like if you're in a situation where everything else has failed, then I understand how meds is a good idea, right? But understand that it's temporary. It's not like supposed to fix you. And this is why some people who go on meds who message me and they're like, oh, meds have worked for me for like a year or 2 years or 3 years, but now it's not working anymore. And then their anxiety is even worse because they never learned how to cope with it properly. DJ Key. So one thing you can do is journal things you're grateful for. That'll help notice like positive things in your life. So as soon as you wake up in the morning, write 5 things you're grateful for. Could be your cat, could be your mom, could be the fact that you have like your bed sheet duvet, it could be anything. Yes, hi Gabe, you're doing such a great job here in TikTok and in your community. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you guys too. Thank you. Okay, did you suffer with chest pains or heart flutters? So I suffered with tightness in my chest, but that wasn't my main symptom. My body was one of my main symptoms was pelvic floor tightness and abdominal pain. So that outweighed like chest pain for me. But the reason you have chest pain and heart flutters is you're not breathing properly. Your rib cage isn't expanding properly. That's like the main reason why people get tightness in their chest and palpitations and so on. I'll react out because I don't know your name. I'll react after the live, okay? Thank you for the follow, Ali. Butterfly, where are you from? I'm from Northern Ireland in the UK. Question, please. I see me, yeah? I still got bad at pronouncing names, guys. I don't feel anxiety, don't have any panic attack more. Now I feel down. Why? So, could be loads of reasons. Right? Start with your habits. What are you doing? Like, some people stay inside all day and doom scroll and they're like, why do I feel low? Why do I not have any motivation? Right? So start by identifying your habits. What are you spending your time on? How did Shilajah help you? I answered that, so I hope you heard me. Thank you for the follow, Mark. Casey, did you take meds? For a short while, like once or twice, because at this point I was like, okay, GPs know best, doctors know best. And then I took it and like it fucked up my gut so much more. And I was like, nope, this just made me be in a worse position than I started. And I'm so glad that I took healing into my own hands. Sandra, hello. Can coming down from such an anxious high cause a depression first? Potentially. Depends on your specific symptoms, right? So obviously when you're burnt out, you feel so low, it can mimic symptoms of depression. So yes, like you could be in freeze, you could be in burnout, and you feel hopeless, right? So depression, you're living in the past, kind of, right? So yeah, it's possible. One city, did you have physical symptoms that they went away from day one and the other 6 months? So with my physical symptoms, it was gradual. And some days, like in the first few months, it was really bad, and then it was really okay, and then it was really bad, and then it was okay. And then over time, it was just like gradually going away to the point where I didn't think about them anymore. I didn't identify with the fact that I had physical symptoms. So it was gradual, but it takes consistency, guys, right? It's also your ability to stay present that makes the biggest difference. I promise you, anyone on this chat, if you were able to stay present, right, in your body, that's the real thing, right? You've lived your life in a certain way where you get lost in each thought. So if you were to stay present and your ability to stay present, that's what really determines how long it takes you to heal. Like no shit, no bullshit. Like your ability to stay in your body consistently is what like determines how long it takes, right? At least one of the things. Okay. Forest kid, I've been having a hard time sleeping due to anxiety sometimes. Okay. Patrick, meditation release anxiety 100%. So obviously, in my opinion, yes, but it should be coupled with other things, right? So if you're doing like heroin every day, obviously I know you're not doing that. I'm just using an extreme example. If you're doing heroin every day and you meditate, obviously the effects of meditation, obviously it'll help you, but it'll be limited, right? So start with your habits, and meditation helps you notice which are the habits in my life, which are the people in my life, what do I really need to do. It helps you reconnect to your intuition, and as long as you take consistent action, then yes. Kirsty, hello. do you st- Kian, do you still suffer with certain symptoms every now and then? When I was healing, yes. Now, not anymore, because it's been a while. Kirsty, did you have gut issues like acid reflux? When I ate certain foods, yeah, but not as much anymore. My main symptoms were like constipation, nausea, abdominal pain, tightness, dashing diva. Gave my anxiety started to get well, and I went back into the anxiety thing again. You relapse. That's okay. That's normal. Just don't try and rush to get out of the relapse, and just keep doing what you did that worked. Once it easy, I've physical symptoms 24/7, and my symptoms, if I list them, it's insane. So once it easy, right? If I were you, don't research your symptoms anymore. Second thing, practice something called messages of safety, which is where you notice the space in the room and notice that you're safe. B, learn how to be mindful of the thoughts of you hyper focusing on your symptoms, right? So you can actually notice when you're thinking about your symptoms. And then C, since they're physical, practice somatic tracking, which is where you learn to feel your symptoms with curiosity. I also go through some meditation course. Patrick, help. You can DM me, man, if you want help. Or join my community, actually. I was thinking about challenging thoughts. Is it true that it's only a temporary solution to anxiety? So it depends what you mean by challenging thoughts. The best thing to do with thoughts or anxious thoughts is just to observe them, right? They're the same as every other thought. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you for the roses. Thank you for the gifts. Hi, is it possible to still heal under the same roof as the people who have hurt you? Yes, because I did do that, but it makes it more difficult, is the only thing, right? So if you're serious, you need to be so consistent, right? You need to make sure you're doing all the habits that you need to be doing. And whenever people are irritating you, learn to watch your reactions. So I know your instinct is to react back, but that's not serving you, right? So it's possible, it's just more difficult. It's like trying to ride a bike with burst tires. It's possible, but it's more difficult. Oh, thank you for the butterfly, Nancy. Okay, guys, I gotta go soon. All right. So I'm just gonna answer a few more, and then I gotta go. But this is recorded, okay? Okay. What were your first symptoms of anxiety? It's new to me and I'm scared. Mine were racing thoughts, pelvic floor tightness, constipation, gut issues. Those are my first symptoms. Yesavantli. Sorry. Did you hear your anxiety naturally or with medication? Naturally. Medication is a temporary fix. You're welcome, Sandra. Thank you. Thank you, Farskin. I agree, Kimmy. Thank you. Go do the nervous system regulation tools, guys. It's free. It's in the bio. Okay. Best way to stop living through improving negative beliefs. First, identify your negative beliefs. This is why meditation is helpful, because you can identify thoughts that lead to beliefs. Journaling helps. All right, first, good. I'm going to answer your question, because you're number 2. And then I'm going to let you guys go, okay? So if you're hard time sleeping, put your phone in a different room. Don't eat before bed. Lower your room temperature. Practice body scan meditation. Practice being still, right? That helps. And notice your breath as you're going to sleep. So let your breath lead you into sleep, okay?
All right, it's been amazing, and I love how these lives are getting way more popular now. So it's amazing, and I love the questions. So keep them coming, guys. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you for the bracelet as well, Fars. All right.